It's PS5 time. And Xbox Series X and Series S time too. But that means the next generation of consoles is here. We had a pretty good run with the 8th generation of consoles, which for the uninitiated includes the PS4, the Xbox One, and yes, the Wii U. Sorry, but no Switch games are going to be allowed on this list. The Switch is essentially a next generation console. Oh no, Nintendo's stuck with its Wii U games, which is essentially 2/3 of the Switch's library anyway. Gosh, making gaming lists is so hard. And there will definitely be games missing on here that I know you like. You may sit there and say to yourself that this list is whack or totally paid off. And to those assertions, I have to say, there were absolutely no developers that paid me off to get their game on this list. Believe me, I begged a lot of them. Please, if there are any games that you feel do not belong on this list, you can write a strongly worded letter to this email and I will get right back to you as soon as I can. I just want my fans to like me, okay? Man, please, just like and subscribe to this channel, and I would greatly appreciate that. I really can't handle rejection right now. Okay, I think I've dragged this video on long enough for the YouTube algorithm to recommend it to people. So, here is my list of the top 15 games of last generation. Again, making lists are hard, and ranking video games on said lists are even harder. So I decided to rank this list based on the main character's theoretical body count. I think you know the body count I'm talking about. I decided to do this because I was walking to a Spirit Halloween one day and this really well-dressed man, I might add, on the street came up and told me a very valuable lesson that sex sells. So I'm trying out this outlandish marketing ploy from a complete stranger. So we'll see what happens. If this video doesn't reach, let's say 100 views, that means that guy I met on the parking lot of a Spirit Halloween is a complete liar. And it's the only explanation I can think of why I wouldn't reach 100 views. Actually, the more I think about it, I'm starting to wonder what he really meant by sex sells. I'm starting to think his pimp costume was not a costume. Number 15, Undertale. No one needs a massive team of artificially created robot men who believe in space religion, or whatever those Ubisoft openings always say, to create an impactful video game. And there's no game on this list that proves that more than Undertale. Made by just one man, Undertale is oozing with so much creativity that it can't even be contained in one playthrough. I'm surprised it was able to be contained in Toby Fox's mind for so long. Not only does the game provide such nuanced characters that are simultaneously lovable and complex, but it also challenges the player both mentally and emotionally through its incomparable game design techniques. For a game that is such a massive homage to Earthbound, there is no game like Undertale. It's only number 15 on this list because you play as a little boy who's probably still in that ill girls are icky kind of phase, so I don't think he's getting any action. Body count, 0. Number 14, Resident Evil 2 Remake. This is easily the best survival horror game that currently exists. Capcom took what was already considered a timeless classic and further refined it while utilizing 20 years worth of technological advancements to further refined it. Why did I write this so long? My gosh. And further refined it while utilizing 20 years of technological advancements to fully realize gameplay ideas that the original... my gosh. Basically, they used the past 20 years of technological advancements to finally create the kind of game they really wanted to make. Sometimes I just keep writing sentences. Mr. X is a truly terrifying antagonist who will stop at nothing to hunt you down and dish out a slobber-knocking haymaker. He generates genuine scares and tension that's organically dished out through gameplay rather than predetermined set pieces or cutscenes. Organically dish... I wrote dishes out twice. I wrote dished out twice. Why did I do that? And literally one sentence after the other. Mr. X alone is what makes RE2 stand above the rest as the penultimate survival horror game. If this was any other franchise, it would be higher on this list. But because it's Resident Evil, where every character is so macho, even the girls, that I don't think sex is ever on anybody's mind in these games. Leon Kennedy's body count, 0. Number 13, Nidhogg. Nidhogg. Competitive fighting games are the best genre of video games that I'm terrible at. To require a player to move left, then down, then left up, then bottom corner, right, then down, left, up then again, back corner, just to hit side, B, and then X left and field, A at the same
just
time.
To go,
and then you gotta go
then
outside, you gotta play some hopscotch, you gotta run back at the same time, and then you gotta go outside, play some hopscotch, go back inside, and hit change the settings around, start button, and then go out of the start menu, and then hit B again, just to put a little bit of extra flames on your uppercut is way too much for my thick skull. So literally any kind of fighting game that takes away those button combinations is an immediate positive. Mix in a bit of 2D platforming tug of war while still maintaining the complex mind games found in fighting games, and you've got yourself the best fighting game I'm not completely terrible at. Who knew fencing could be this addictive? I doubt any of the characters in Nidhogg are banging it out off screen, but the game does have lots of penetration. And sometimes you can just leave it in for as long as you want, while you and the other fencer lock eyes, getting lost in them for a brief moment that feels like an eternal love affair. Each pixelated corner of their bodies dripping with body count. Maybe 1? Number 12, Bloodborne. Dark Souls is one of the greatest video games of all time, and somehow Bloodborne manages to compete with that absurdly high bar. Taking the mechanics of Dark Souls and accelerating that pace makes for a sadistically satisfying experience. The player is encouraged to be aggressive and lose themselves in the intense action. With a haunting atmosphere and mouth-watering world building, Bloodborne impresses both in gameplay and presentation. I wouldn't normally think the hunter is having sex with any of these creatures, but there's this whole thing about collecting parts of an umbilical cord, so somebody somewhere made some kind of baby. Body count. Most likely 1. Number 11, Red Dead Redemption 2. Despite popular belief, I wouldn't even call this the best open world game of this generation. It's bogged down by Rockstar's linear mission design and sluggish controls that they like to call quote unquote realistic. However, the writing is some of the finest work found in video games, leading to the most gloriously crafted character arc I've ever seen. Red Dead Redemption 2 is by design a sprawling epic that can't be missed. Arthur has definitely made sweet, sweet love to somebody in his lifetime, but it's the Wild West, which means everybody is stinky and gross and dirty. Jesus, Arthur, take a bath. Plus, he's way too depressing. Body count 1, but I still don't believe it. Number 10, Super Hot. Super Hot. Super Hot. If you don't understand what I'm talking about when I say Super Hot is the most innovative shooter I've played in years, that means you haven't played Super Hot and you need to change that right now. Even some of the most prestigious video games of all time have flaws. But I'd consider Super Hot to be a perfect video game. It masterfully executes on its genius premise, creating an addictive and satisfying gameplay loop that never fails at tickling my brain. It doesn't overstay its welcome and instead leaves me wanting more. Super Hot is so good that my girlfriend, who couldn't care less about video games, will still randomly come up to me and say, Super Hot. That's just amazing. Now, like me, you might be wondering, how could anybody be making babies in this world? I don't know, but everybody looks like the exact same red dude, and there doesn't seem to be any shortage of red dudes. So your main character must be reproducing on the low. Body count, 1 to 2 at least. Number 9, Doom Eternal. Judging from the last game, you can probably tell I love first-person shooters. When the original Doom came out, that's Doom 2016, not Doom 1990... what? 1993? Why am I stuck at this? It shocked the world with its return to fast-paced, no-reload, brutal, big fucking gun-toting action that was founded in the original Doom. The other original Doom, the 1993 one. Now for the sequel. I'm talking about Doom Eternal now, not Doom 2. They made the bold decision to improve Doom 1 in every single way possible. Doom is so brave. Not many games have the balls to do that. The movement is more versatile, the combat is more deadly, and the level design is more like a Tony Hawk level. You know, just with a ton of murder. Let's be real, adding anything Tony Hawk related instantly makes it better. How could you not love this game? Seriously, like how could you not? If you ever hear somebody complain about the Marauders in Doom Eternal, that just means they're bad at the game. Instead of listening to people crap on Doom Eternal, I'm too busy listening to Mick Gordon's amazing soundtrack. Doom Guy would be so in there with the ladies if he wasn't having so much fun decimating the entire population of hell. Body count. None at the moment, but theoretically a lot. Number 8. Control. What if X-Files, Twin Peaks, and those SCP Foundation monster stories all came together and have a baby? That would be Control. The world building is top notch. You feel like Alice in Wonderland, diving deeper and deeper into that lore-filled rabbit hole. That sounded so dirty. I'm sorry. Not a single document disappoints, and neither does the gameplay. It blends Metroidvania-style exploration with sublime telekinetic shooting for a unique experience. It's strange in all the right ways, and I can't recommend it enough to anybody who's into story-focused action games. Oh, and I'm sure Jessie's quirky, badass persona gives her some edge in the dating game. Body count? I bet 2. 3 if she wasn't so damn weird. Wow, this body count idea is falling apart. Number 7. Nier Automata. Existentialism never looked so good. The meaning of life is so lame, and for philosophical losers, it's all about those hypersexualized characters. I didn't write the script. Except I totally wrote the script. Look at their butts! Nier Automata explores its themes of existentialism and massive butts with a fine-toothed comb. Yoko Taro scours his world for any way to show off his harsh ideals to the gamer. Nier even finds ways to explore those themes within its gameplay, which was worked on by Platinum Games, which means that it's amazing no matter what IGN says. I would say 2B would be slaying it right now, but she's an android, so I don't even know if that's possible. Body count. I'm just confused now, but I'm sure it's good. Number 6.
What's your name, kid?
The human spider.
Number 6. Marvel's Spider-Man. Over the years, I've completely lost hope that we would ever get a Spider-Man video game with web swinging anywhere near as good as the web swinging in Spider-Man 2, the movie, the video game. Believe me when I say I've searched everywhere, playing every Spider-Man game, and even some not Spider-Man games, to find something, anything resembling the web swinging found in Spider-Man 2, the movie, the video game. I was only left with disappointment. Until 2018, when Marvel's Spider-Man, not a movie, but yes a video game, finally came out and rocked my world. Swinging around New York City was a blast. It's so fun that it's the only open world game I've played where I never once touched the fast travel system. It's way more fun than, let's say hypothetically, riding a horse around the Wild West for 70 plus hours. Peter Parker is a dreamboat as well as a nerd legend for sleeping with at least 2 women before the end of college. Body count. 3. He'd have more if it wasn't for his radioactive spider semen. And yes, I just said that. Number 5. What Remains of Edith Finch. There's tons of examples of games with incredible stories, or games with incredible gameplay, or both even, but rarely ever do the story and gameplay complement each other. So many times they feel divorced from one another, rather than one and the same. What Remains of Edith Finch bucks that trend because the gameplay in Edith Finch is the story. It's an impactful narrative about death, and a cursed family who's had to deal with plenty of loss throughout their lineage, where each vignette superbly sticks their landing. They found a way to make a walking simulator feel so varied. And I gotta say, this game may be about death, but this family procreates like rabbits. Body count. I don't know, enough to make a wildly cursed family tree. Number 4. Outer Wilds. Have you ever wanted to explore space? Of course you did. Outer Wilds is all about that wish fulfillment. Imagine No Man's Sky, but scaled down to a single solar system where every nook and cranny has been meticulously crafted rather than randomly generated. Not a single planet disappoints. Playing as an alien in an alien solar system is the best setup for discovery. And I've already said too much. And that's all you're gonna get out of me. Everything about this game is a spoiler, and I would hate to spoil it for anybody. Oh, right, the body count. Right, so this alien has 4 eyes, and I can only imagine how many dicks he has. Body count. I'm sure 20 across all kinds of sexy space species. Number 3, Uncharted 4. The Uncharted franchise is a lifelong favorite of mine, and it would be a crime not to put a Naughty Dog game on this list. Not a single Uncharted game has failed to entertain me. And yes, I'm including Uncharted Golden Abyss, the Vita one. But it wasn't until Uncharted 4 that I realized how much these characters mean to me. Nathan Drake, Sully, Elena, Chloe. They all had a special place in my heart that I hadn't noticed was there. Uncharted 4 is exciting, and not just because of its swashbuckling action, but because of its deep love for these characters and those heartfelt quiet moments that are in between the action set pieces. This is like the Avengers Endgame of Uncharted, giving these characters and the series as a whole a proper send-off. Also, Nathan Drake is hot as hell. Body count, 40. No man this handsome has anything less. Number 2, The Witcher 3. Ubisoft thought they had this whole open world game figured out until Witcher 3 came along and crushed it so hard that Ubisoft had no choice but to copy them. The writing in this game alone demands multiple Game of the Generation awards. Every single quest, no matter how minuscule, provides compelling tales to tell. Luckily, the writing isn't the only trick up this game's sleeve. The Witcher 3 houses a rich and lively open world to traverse, with challenging combat, enthralling RPG mechanics, and the sexiest man of all, Geralt. Thanks to the overwhelming popularity of The Witcher 3, Geralt has become a household name. Well, it's also thanks to the Netflix show, but the Netflix show wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the massive success of The Witcher 3. A large portion of the Witcher games is dedicated to making love to as many humans and fantasy creatures as you can, so it's not surprising that it's so high on this list. Body count. It can't be less than 500. Number 1, Mario Kart 8. Gaming's biggest franchise has been polished to a sunshine. Mario Kart 8 is the quintessential Mario Kart game. It's gorgeous, it's unabashedly fun, and it has euphoric controls. There are no kart racers like it. No other developer balances party games with competition like Nintendo. And not even Nintendo. And if you thought Geralt was a sexual Adonis, take a good hard look at Mario. He's the Italian plumber of our dreams. He's saved the Mushroom Kingdom so many times that there is no way that he doesn't have everyone served up to him on a silver platter. Body count. 2 billion thick mushrooms. And that is the definitive list of the greatest games of the generation. No need to look at any other lists. If the game you liked didn't make it on this list, then that just means it didn't matter. Unless, of course, there are these honorable mentions. But every other game, don't even go back to it. Like, why? Like, the PS5's out now. There's no need to look in the past. I mean, we get it. We get it. You peaked in high school. Now get over it and waste your life away with video games.